Fitz of Writing.
All right, welcome to the Fitz of Writing. I am your host on this episode, R.M. Johnson. Today we have a very wonderful and exciting guest. I can't wait to introduce you guys to. She is a writer, a poet, a sculptor, lawyer, and unbelievably much more. Without further ado, the witty, wicked, and whimsical, the dark and delightful, ladies and gentlemen, the Artful Dodger. How you doing today, Dodger?
Hi, RM. Good, thanks. And you?
I'm doing great. Like I said, I'm nervous. I hate these. Everyone that watches this is going to see it. They're going to feel it. But hopefully, the more I do it, the better I'll get. I just want to kind of open things up with a small background in yourself and give you time to kind of talk about who you are and your journey and what's brought you here. So, you want to tell us where your story starts?
Yes, sure. So I am a small town farm girl. I actually grew up on a chicken farm. So like farm life is always been in my bones. So I've always liked writing as a kid because it was a way for me to get my dark stories out there. And I've always liked poetry. And I've also always liked art. So I'm actually a sculptor. I sculpt with polymer clay. And ever since I was a kid, I've just been fascinated with writing and with my sculptures because it is a way for me to show the world who I really am, and through my experiences of life, that's what I put into my art. So along the way, I was quite studious. Like I was like a straight A student, and I don't need to toot my own horn, but Duke's pupil and all of those things. So I did really well at school. So there was a lot of pressure on me as well to like be something more sturdy, I guess, like a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer. So I chose law because I'm a good debater and I did like English as a subject. It was always my favorite subject. So I actually went into law and I became a lawyer. And then just down the line, it just became a little, monotonous and quite boring for me. And I really wanted to get back into my art. So I started painting again when my daughter was born, and it just took off from there. I then got back into my clay sculpting, and then I got back into my writing. So recently, I've just put together like 28 story poems and published my first book. So
Yeah.
it's been quite a journey.
Yeah, and that does lead us into what your book is called. It is the let me just check my notes so I get it right. It is the Dirges of Doom and Delights of Fantastical Feasts of Fables and Frights, Volume One. Right?
Yes, quite a mouthful, but it's fun to say.
It is. It is, and it actually it hits me on a very particular bone, which is the alliteration bone. I don't think enough poets lean into it. Um, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna kind of get out there and say it. I absolutely love what you're doing. I love everything about it. As soon as you submitted your stuff to us, I was captivated. I was telling Sean, I was like, I don't care what you say, it's happening. We're getting her on the show. I'm gonna talk to her. You can talk to her if you like, but I'm gonna talk to her because I feel like not only your art style is very it definitely captures something in me because I love Tim Burton-esque things, and your art style very much is leaning into that. Your poetic style is very reminiscent of something that I try to do. I like to call it, well, that dark whimsical thing. I like to call it Dark Seuss writing. So it's like it's
That's a
kind of
good one.
has that flow, that bouncy flow, but it's also like darker stuff.
Yes.
And so I'm just absolutely in love with everything you're doing. I'm excited for you to put out more. Do you want to kind of run us through more about what your book is and what people can expect if they want to get it?
Yeah, sure. So I'm quite a horror fan. So I like things that are quite freaky, but also like kind of very Alice in Wonderland type of vibe. So I've always struggled with trying to get everything to kind of blend in together. But then when I write poetry, I'm able to bring that dark horror element with the whimsical element and also a touch of spirituality in there as well. So my stories are very creepy, some are bizarre, and it's just really just a wacky world. There's 28 poems, so they're written in a poem format, but they're actually stories. And some are just really creepy stories about, evil ice cream and eating children. And then some are like more spiritual, where there's like, like pugs that are part of this empire and they've just lost their pugginess by being more human. So it's just these bizarre stories, but there's just a deep message behind it.
And yes, 100%. Speaking of, in your submission to us, you did mention that you came from an abusive home and you used your art and your love of writing as a means to deal with that, and perhaps use it to fuel your art. You want to talk to us a little bit more about that and how you feel like it kind of helped your artistic process?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I grew up with a very narcissistic mother. So, all my achievements, she'd always just like tell me that I shouldn't be doing these things, kind of dulling me down. And I think it really was the fire to why I do what I do. I've got a great message to tell people, I've got great stories to tell people. And, I think following that traditional sense of, be a certain way, it just didn't fly with me. So, I mean, it's always just been that rebellion in me to just push a little further, to be more myself than ever. And that's what I've been doing in my writing. And it's also just given me a bit of perspective on who I am, because all of those challenges that I faced, it taught me something about myself. And I can bring that through in my storytelling.
And it is quite, excuse me, quite a disconnect from being a corporate lawyer. I'm sure your art is not only just like a part of who you are, but it also feels like an escape sometimes. I can definitely get behind that. um,
Yeah, I mean, law is great, but it's just got this very it's got this like very rigid structure to it that's just so far off from creativity. But I mean, I do try to bring my creativity into my work as well, so it makes me a better lawyer at the end of the day. But if I had to choose between law and doing my creative passions, it would definitely be this, because this is the message that I bring through to people. With corporate law, you kind of just do what you're told, and there's nothing really that you can carry through in your work.
and I think I have no idea about law or the life of a lawyer, but I can imagine that that rigidness does also kind of loop back around and help you in your creative process, because a lot of creatives have trouble kind of like buttoning down and focusing and accomplishing what they want to achieve. And I'm sure that's not something that you could do in law, and it probably helps you focus and finish, and definitely raises your own standard for what you're doing.
Yeah, it definitely brings a certain level of discipline to what I do, because sometimes when you're stuck in that creative process, you really get stuck in it, but it means nothing if you don't take action on it. So it really does draw me back to that, like, in the now element. Just do it, basically.
So do you have any like tips or tricks on how to kind of help others focus themselves? Like anything you do
Yeah,
particularly?
sure. I mean, especially as a multidisciplinary creative, if you've got lots of passions, it's difficult to, on a day, pick one to do. And sometimes you get so stuck not picking what you want to do, you just do nothing. So for me, I just make sure that I do what I feel like on the day. I don't force myself. So I don't say, like, today I'm going to write. If I'm not feeling it, I'm not going to vibe with it. So if I'm feeling more like, let me have an off day, I take an off day. If I feel like I want to write, then I write. So it's whatever really calls to me in the moment.
That is very interesting. Um, that yeah, wow. That's very interesting because it might be because you're so disciplined that you're able to do that. Because I do know like a lot of what is preached in our community is just do the work. Like if you're feeling it or not, just get something out so that you maintain the activity, the repetitiveness of you doing it, so that when the moment does come, you can produce something of quality. But at least you're in the mindset constantly. And it seems like you're able to kind of just forgive yourself for not being in it that day, and then when you are, you're 100% in, and you're able to produce something. So that's very interesting. Can you speak a little bit more about your creative process of just like perhaps where you feel like your inspirations come from, your ideas, and then how that leads into you defending or fighting against what you call the matrix?
Sure. So I mean, when when I want to write a story, I mean, it really just comes to me. I'll be washing the dishes, and there'll just be like this weird looking dish that looks like it has a face, and I just make up a story about it in my head. So the stories just come to me. I'll be seeing like a weird shadow that would remind me of something, or it just comes. And I think that's why I'm able to write with ease. I just draw inspiration from whatever I'm feeling in the moment. I think sometimes when you pre-plan things too much, you get stuck in details and you never really commit to an idea because you're thinking about so many things. But if you just flow with it and just vibe with it and let it come to you, it's easier for you to then write. You just unblock that kind of blockage that's sitting with you.
Yeah, yeah, I could definitely get behind that. There's many poems I have where I've simply started from a sentence. Like I smoke. I've started vaping now to kind of cut back on that, but when a couple of years ago when I first started like reintroducing myself to the idea of trying to become a writer and take it seriously, I would smoke and I would just kind of repeat a sentence to myself over and over to see like how that kind of resonates with me, and then it just felt like a door would open up, and then I would just kind of like everything flowed out after that. So it's like, yeah, it doesn't take a lot. You don't have to watch an entire symphony to be inspired. Sometimes it can just be a very small thing, and it opens up the floodgates. I want to bring attention to so in case anybody, for those that don't know, when we ask people to submit to be interviewed, we ask for a bunch of material. uh, some of it's important, some of it's just us kind of gauging who you are as a person so we can get an idea of your personality. And we ask people to send in quotes for themselves, or just like their favorite quote, what they feel like kind of resonates in life. And the quote you sent is, life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, it's about learning how to dance in the rain. And I do love that quote. I would go so far as to say it's also about learning to embrace the fact that you're going to get wet, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually have that tattooed on my arm. It's just the mantra that I live by. I mean, it's also drawing you back to living in the now. And that just takes a lot of pressure off you. People are so stuck in what happened before or what's going to happen, they just forget to exist in the now. And that's really where your greatest self exists.
Yeah, I do think, especially in America, because if I forgot to mention, which I probably did, Dodger, you're currently in South Africa. Were you born
Yes,
there?
yes, I was.
Yeah. In America, I do feel like a lot of us tend to concern ourselves with avoiding the chaos too much, forgetting the fact that sometimes chaos can bring up upon change, and it can make you better, it can make you stronger. And so I do feel like we shouldn't avoid it as much as we do, for sure.
Absolutely. There's always a lesson in the chaos, there's a lesson in the darkness.
Yeah, 100%.
It's an
I
opportunity to learn something about yourself.
Yes, yes. I don't. I think we try to deny ourselves a lot by not being truthful with how we feel or what we want. Sometimes just flat out lying about what it is we want, and not really like putting the focus on the truth of it. Some people want to be rich or famous, but they don't want to put in the effort, and it's like, well, you're wanting the wrong thing. You want success. So if you start looking at life in terms of small successes, eventually you're going to become successful. So you just need to kind of change your reality, your perception rather. Um,
Absolutely. And that's what manifestation is. You
yes,
just create your reality.
and that leads me to my favorite quote from you. I don't know if you're quoting somebody else. I don't know. I don't care. I read your email. It's in there. You just said it, just kind of describing yourself. And I latched onto it because I thought it was brilliant. and that is, you said, to me, writing is magic. It's alchemy. And I love that because that's what it is. It's not just some conjuration. It is, but it's also something that can be broken down scientifically and understood and then rearranged and reproduced. And we can discover a great many things from playing with it. And so, like, to me, I was just like, I love that quote. That's genius. It's a genius quote. I love it. I hope she didn't take it from someone else.
Yeah, no, I mean it's true. It's the magic of who you are. It's your perspective, your experiences that you're able to show the world. You show people how you see the world through your art. So perspective is alchemy.
Yeah, 100%. I don't want to bring us too far away from why I have you on today, which is Dirges of Doom and Delights. Um, you just wrote it. Do you feel like it's gained some popularity? Have you gained any traction with it yet? I'm not sure what your marketing strategy so far is for it.
Well, I've actually just released it. So I've been writing these poems since I was a teenager, and some of those poems I've actually repurposed into some of the stories that I've used for volume one, and then some of the stories are new stories. So I'll show you what it looks like. There we go.
Yes.
And it's actually fully illustrated. So there's an illustration on every single page, which I think is quite fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just give you a little show of what it looks like. So it's really just this book of fun, creepy little stories and illustrations. Yeah, so
And
28 of those
are you
stories.
the artist?
No, so I actually use digital formats to get the pictures, but all the writing is mine.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Um, is it self-published or traditionally published?
Self-published on Amazon.
Okay. So let me set the stage here. Um, I am blown away by the quality of the product. I just have to say that first and foremost, like the art, the art design, the like how it all kind of comes together. Yes, every page is illustrated, and there are words on all pages, and it all kind of just comes together to create this atmosphere while you're reading it. Because the sample you showed me is just is so beautiful. The whole concept, I love it, and I don't think enough books go to the trouble of doing what you did. It's a lot of effort, and for a self-published book, it looks 100% traditionally published. You know, with someone that's like a proper art director going, let's get our hands on this, let's make it as beautiful as humanly possible and produce a very beautiful piece of work. And I'm just blown away that you haven't done this before, and it smacks of high quality craftsmanship. So I will definitely, tip my hat off to you in that regard.
Thank you. And it was all so much fun to do. It didn't really feel like work at all. So it really is just my true passion. It really just doesn't feel like work. These stories just come to me, and I just have so many more. So there's just many, many more volumes to come.
And you do sculpt. I don't know if you have anything on hand, if you want to show that or not. I'm certainly open to it. But I do know you sculpt. Is that just for personal pleasure, or are you also selling your sculptures? You selling your work at all?
I don't have anything here at the moment, but I've shown you pictures of my sculptures, so they're quite intricate. So I'm actually busy working on building the Halloween town from The Nightmare Before Christmas, one of my favorite movies. So I've got all the little houses that I've been putting together, and they're going to be in this like coffin-shaped display glass, and they're going to all light up, and it's going to just be really cool. It's
Yeah.
going to have the graveyard at the bottom as well. So I'm busy working on that at the moment. And then I'm also building a wrestling arena diorama. So I've just got a lot of projects on the go at the moment. So it's also a bit of a challenge to balance my writing with my sculpting. So right now my sculpting's taken a bit of a backseat because of releasing volume one. But I'll just have to get back into it and then finish the Halloween town.
Yeah, I did see the photos. It looks brilliant. I also love the case. I think that's genius. I
Thanks.
yeah, I as I've mentioned before, I'm also an artist. I paint. I used to draw. I don't draw as much. I initially I started painting like abstract art, I have it all over my house. And then I started doing a thing that I just never thought I'd ever get into, and that was painting miniatures, because I'm a giant nerd and I play tabletop games. And I just didn't think I'd have the patience for it. The details are so small, because we're talking about things that are like this big, and there's a lot of detail in there. And I just never thought I'd get into it, and I've really found a love. It's definitely something that helps me decompress, and I encourage anybody that's looking to decompress to just start painting. I don't care what you're painting, just find something to paint, learn about it. It definitely helps a lot. And so you just because I could talk about that all day, I'm just gonna shut up.
It's a form of meditation. It really is.
It really is. You're working on volume 2 at the moment, right?
Yes.
And how far along do you feel like you are into that process?
Ooh, that one's just starting out. So I've got 2 stories so far, a marvelous 2. So quite a long way to go with that one. But volume 1 is just an absolute delight. Like the first story is about this creepy ice cream man who like lures these children into this factory, and then he like turns them into the ice creams. And then the second one's about this pug who just brings down this corporation because he realizes that they're just turning them into drones. So
And
they're just really cool stories.
and are you looking to like kind of cap it off at, I think you said this one's 27, the first one's 27,
28 stories.
28, sorry. Are you looking to cap it at 28 like for volume 2, or you think you're going to do more, maybe a little bit less?
Yeah, I think I want to hit like the same kind of amount of stories per book, so that they all like look the same on the shelf, so they all like
Yeah.
same size.
Yeah, that does help. Is it going to be the same flavor, or are you kind of going into a different direction?
um I think because I had a lot of poems from my younger days in volume 1, I think there's a lot of transformation that you'll find in my work in volume 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I think volume 2 is a bit more where I find myself, and I just really throw myself into this like crazy world. So I think volume 2 stories are a bit more, just cooler and creepier. It's just like the more I discover myself as a writer, like as I write, I just get deeper into this like creepy dark universe of mine. So that just carries through in each volume.
And what are you most excited about regarding this new project? Like, I know, let's split it. What are you most excited about volume 1, and then what most excites you about volume 2?
So for volume 1, I've always wanted to write a book. Like ever since I used to make little miniature books when I was a kid and write stories in them up. I've just always wanted to write and publish a book. So for me, volume 1 is a big dream come true. To finally get to the point of I've had all these poems lying around for so many years, and I was just doing nothing with them. So I'm just glad I've gotten to the point where I've packaged it and I've published. So I'm just really proud of myself.
And well, I'm just gonna open it up. We could talk about it all day. I really am impressed with the product you've produced, especially it being your first. Anyone out there, you should definitely check it out. It is worth the money that you would spend on it. It is very, very fun. I want to. Where can people find it?
So it's on Amazon. I've just published. So you can actually find the link. I think the link in
Yeah,
the description.
yep. We'll put all that stuff in there.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to grab a copy. I think my daughter would love it. I just want to open it up to a little bit more general discussion. What elements do you hate the most regarding storytelling?
With poetry, I just don't like poems that don't rhyme. I just don't, why is it a poem then?
Yes.
It doesn't rhyme. So I think that's just been an irritation for me.
Well, Dodger, you are now officially my spirit animal. Yes, I 100%. I'm behind you. I don't get the appeal of freeform poetry. I think, to me, at that point, you're just writing prose.
Words.
Yeah, you're just putting words together. Like there's no artfulness to it. There's no bounce. There's no rhythm. They're I'm sure the words mean things and that they're eloquent, but it's not to me. It's not poetry. Um, what are your perspective? What's your perspective on storytelling, on telling stories through different mediums such as art or poetry or just the written word, movies, TV, things like that, using different mediums?
Sure, I mean, it's really just an opportunity for you to put yourself on a plate, you know? The way that you've lived your life, you've had certain experiences, and that's what you should write about, how you perceive things, your experiences. And if you carry that through your art, I mean, you just basically live forever in your art. You show the
Immortality.
world how you see it
Hmm.
through your art.
Yes. And this question is specific to you because in your dialogues with me on here, you are a very positive person. That's why I threw the hate question at you. I wanted to see if you have any negatives that you feel, but you're a very positive person, and I feel like you might have like a good advice. Good, yeah, you might be able to provide good advice for others, other creatives, other writers, poets, artists that are struggling out there. And I'm just wondering, like, what can you say about keeping positive in the face of failure or even just stagnation of your own art?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's really what my poetry is about. So you should check out some of my poems on LinkedIn. It's really power poetry. It's finding yourself as an artist and really reminding yourself why you should do what you do. And I think there's so many people out there with great talent, but they just don't do it because they worried about what people will think. They're just following the traditional matrix sense of things when they really should be breaking out of their shells and just being who they truly are, their most authentic self, because that's where your best art lies.
Well, you goes. You heard it. Be yourself. Be weird, as she would say. I do think that's about all the time we have. So I do want to kind of ramp this down. Check out her socials. She's available on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram as the Artful Dodger Studios. Right.
Yes.
And I just want to let everyone know that we do release Teletales every Tuesday. Should be one before this, last night's. Go check it out. It is a writing prompt. It's very simple. It's just a photo, it's an image I found on the internet. I look at it, I see a story. I created, whether it's poetry, whether it's a narrative tale, whether it's just dialogue back and forth. I'm just putting down what I see when I look at the image, and then I ask you to do the same. You know, it's just meant to be a creative outlet, just to kind of help you get your juices flowing, maybe see the world a little bit differently, see this person's world a little bit differently. And we invite you to comment and put in your own little story and tell us what you got. You can keep an eye out on our Facebook page for any key announcements, such as when we open up for season 2, submissions. Please like and comment and subscribe on the channel. And I want to thank Dodger for participating, and I hope to see her again. I can't wait to talk to her about Volume 2 and see what else she's got going. Is there anything you want to say before we go?
Thank you for having me. And I really just want to remind people to just stay weird. I mean, like I said, that's where your best art lies. So, you know, live your purpose.
I love it. All right, we'll just fade to black then.